Hey, I'm Katie Moran, and here's your heartfelt lift. Today I'm here with.
Hi. Hello, beautiful souls. My name is Lucy Liu. Maybe not the Lucy Liu you've known in your life, but definitely I hope I am a Lucy Liu you will remember for the rest of your life. I am an author, speaker, and motivational workshop facilitator, and I'm all about uplifting you and your life with my podcast, The Lucy Liu Show. So, obviously, my name is Lucy Liu, and some of you may know the amazing Lucy Liu. She is the beautiful actress in Charlie's Angels. Oh, so many amazing TV shows. She is also a director, she is an artist, and just so amazingly talented. And I grew up with this notion that because of that, because of someone else out there in the world already has this name, that I will always be behind. I because it's just not possible. Like we do not see another Julia Robert in the world. We do not see another Angelina Jolie out there in the world, right? And I grew up being feeling like I was behind. I was behind, even though I was 100% the A student in school. I still felt behind. Like, have you ever felt like you disappointed someone? Because I was there. Growing up in Los Angeles, being so close to Hollywood, back in middle school, I signed up with a casting agency. And every single time I went to a audition, the casting director would run out of their office like, oh my goodness, Lucy Liu's on my list. And they look at me and give me this such disappointment look like, oh, you're not the Lucy Liu, right? And guess what? I never got a single part. I gave up eventually on acting, not because I was shattered, but because of my entrepreneurial pursuit. But in the meanwhile, all these years, the same happened again and again. Every time I made a restaurant reservation, the host would ask me, are you the Lucy Liu coming in? And I always had to disappoint everyone and say, you know what? I'm sorry. I'm not the Lucy Liu. And to a point, I even started making reservations in my mom's name so that I don't get asked this question. And I felt like, you know what? Life is just going to go by. I was just living through the motions of each day. Life was on autopilot. And I'm not going to be anyone special. I'm not going to make impact like she does. And for a very long time, I lived life like that, just waiting for my death days, not fulfilled, living without life purpose. And it wasn't until probably 2 decades of personal development where I finally crawled out of this, this cave that, you know what? We are all unique. We are all special in our own ways. And I might be the Lucy Liu to help someone out there in need because someone out there all need and relate to our story. Maybe your story is different. Maybe you had a name that was too common, too hard to pronounce, too long, too hard to spell, right? And maybe it wasn't a story about your name, it was something else about your life, your childhood. These are all limiting beliefs that we grew up with, and whatever they are, however you felt at one point that you might have disappointed yourself or others, or that you might have felt like you are behind in life, that you're always chasing something ahead that you couldn't reach. Let me tell you, those are all in our heads. They're all our limiting beliefs. And for me, it wasn't until I became a life coach that I knew because I am constantly shattering the limiting beliefs of my clients. I had to constantly list out all my own limiting beliefs. And for one that was on top of my head, that would be to get rid of this limiting belief about my name. And that is exactly why I started my podcast and just calling it the Lucy Liu Show. And of course, like all of us, we have that little tiny voice in our head, right, Lucy? Who are you to now come up with like you are the Lucy Liu, right? Or, are you using her name for fame? But actually, people say it's really bad for my SEO. It's really bad. It's hard for people to find me because when they search for this name, the actress will come up. But I stopped letting all those negative talks affect my decision. I am here to provide value with my podcast. I am here, even if one listener took away one piece of golden nugget and made their day and uplifted their day, that makes me happy. And I've done a positive contribution to this world, and that is all I matters. And when I focus on this ability to serve, this positive spin, right? Instead of focusing on the negatives in all these years that I've lost, not being confident enough to just be myself, that makes a world of difference for me and for anyone if they listen to this story or watch this story. Just know that you are special and you have light inside of you. And this world needs more alive people, whatever it is that you love to do, and just have fun doing it.
I love that so much. And I had almost like the opposite experience growing up. There was a writer who was like a producer for, I think it was like Playboy or something. And they wrote a book. And I remember like I would always like Google my name and like see who's out there. And I would go on Amazon and like look up books. And this book came up with someone who had my name, Katie Moran. And I got the book. And it was so funny. I was probably like in middle school, and it was like this like totally inappropriate book. And like I had to like hide it because I was like I just wanted a book that like had my name on it because my dream was to be a writer. So I was like, like if I could hold a book that says Katie Moran on it, I know I could do it too. So it was something that was really motivating. But Katie Moran is a very, very common name. So there's a lot of us out there. I love this idea that sometimes we could feel like we're behind. And I know I have two older sisters. So growing up, I always felt like I was behind. I felt like I was slower than them. I didn't learn as fast as them. And I think that's so common that so many people feel that way. And so many people, I think now with social media, can compare themselves as adults to other people who feel like the thing is when you look at someone on social media, you might see like their highlights, but you don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. And it's so important to recognize that we all struggle and we all have things we're going through. So I just love to hear it. Like how did you come to the point where you felt like you could really own who you are, and what advice would you give people who are struggling with that idea that they feel like they're behind other people or they're comparing themselves and they feel less than?
I love this question, Katie. I think it's really important. And it's something definitely I preach daily now
Mm,
because I think it's all about decision.
mm,
Decision making is so important. It's a decision when you want to be, who you want to be, where you're going, and who you decide to spend your time with. These are daily decisions, and these small decisions add up to our entire life, right?
mhm,
For example, we often say this, I'm not good enough, blank, right? Or I'm not ready enough. I am not, whatever it is that you're telling yourself. And I think it really, it changed my life when I learned that enough is not an amount or a time, but it is a decision. And I think
That is
everything else is also a decision. For example, confidence. If I decide to be that confident version of Lucy, that's different. And what changed? Nothing changed. None of the circumstances changed because our daily circumstances are always neutral. We get to decide if that's positive or negative. And if you make a decision that you are ready, you are. If you make a decision that you are, special, then you are special. So these are all daily decisions. And I think a lot of misunderstanding, like you talked about on social media, what we see and what we're really grew up to think is that other people are more confident
Mhm.
and that we have to be a certain way in order to be considered confident. But I think I do what I do now just so I can tell people that that is not true. Confidence is not about volume. It's not about the decibels. For me, I am very quiet. I love spending time alone. But I feel like I could be the most quiet person in the room and I could be the most confident person in the room. So you don't have to be a certain way in order to be confident. All you have to do is to decide to be that version of yourself. And I think that made a world of difference in my life when I stopped caring about what other people think, or when I stopped caring about, whether or not I'm good enough and just go for it. And in turn, that's going to inspire someone. And don't think, you're not in a position to inspire. No matter what line of work you are in, no matter what you do, no matter where you are at, your actions, someone out there is watching. You might have made someone's day. You might have saved someone's day or even saved someone's life.
I love that so much, and just the idea that enough isn't a measurement, I absolutely love that. So I asked the audience today, what are you deciding? Thank you so much for coming on, Lucy.
Thank you for having me, Katie.